Candace Owens never thought Officer Tatum would do this. A video by O'Shea Duke Jackson, man. They're all fighting over the body of their beloved white zaddy. Okay, let's go.
On September 19, 2025, the Officer Tatum YouTube channel put out a video called Receipts Expose the Real Story Behind Charlie Kirk in Israel.
Ooh.
And the goal of this video was to call out those individuals who were
Tatum, he putting in overtime. He working for Israel. Okay.
trying to hijack Charlie's death with anti-Semitic conspiracies and clout-chasing lies.
Right,
and in this video, he attacked two people directly, but he started off pretty strong.
They're taking responsibility away from the person who really did it and confessed to it.
Okay.
They taking that power, are they giving him power, emboldening him, eluding what he did to talk about this.
Now, of course, so far, so good. But then we find out the first victim.
Okay, let's see.
Here's a clip from this guy named Nick Fuentes. If you don't know him, good on you, because he's an idiot. He is a narcissistic idiot. Don't let this fool trick your young people, because now that Charlie's gone, he's trying to position himself to get the mind of the youth to be stupid like him.
The first victim is Nick Fuentes. Now, if you guys know, the Officer Tatum and Nick Fuentes and his Groyper camp have never really seen eye to eye. Number one, Brandon Tatum, aka the Officer Tatum, is black.
Right.
And he's married to a white woman.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Fuentes and the Groyper guys have already called out him in the past.
He'd rather hate Charlie Kirk than to take something from Charlie Kirk's book and begin to establish something that's sustainable. These little gropers are going around, they racist. They call my wife, and I'm not saying all of them, but the ones who got on my wife, they call her a coal burner because she's a traitor to her race. You know how stupid you got to be like, white people can't marry black people.
So as you already see, this...
Bro, the money can't be that good to be subjecting yourself to this kind of bullshit, man. These are the circles you're operating in. This is perpetually the bullshit you're going to have to put up with for as long as you're a black conservative married to a white woman. You are amongst people who see you as a monkey. They call you a monkey, an ape. They think you should go back to Africa. They don't believe anyone who looks like you should hold any political power. These are the people that you're fighting for. Okay.
Been a lot of back and forth between these two individuals, basically behind the fact that Officer Tatum is a conservative and he's married to a white woman, but also because the Officer Tatum is an Israel supporter.
Right.
Now, this is interesting. He's basically going on to talk about the fact that Nick Fuentes is trying to take away Charlie Kirk's audience and bring him over to his side. And this is what he's trying to do with the death of Charlie Kirk. He's also going to mention the fact that, Nick Fuentes was an enemy of Charlie Kirk. And I really don't want to get into more detail about it, but I really don't mind this particular call out because some of it can be fair, right? And these two really don't like each other.
Sure,
but the next call out is shocking.
This is what bothers me, and this is why I don't fool with him no more. I don't want nothing to do. I've lost faith in Tucker Carlson.
No, okay.
I never really liked him a lot. I didn't like how he talked. Like, he was very condescending and he's just weird. But I respected his gangster because he was keeping it real on Fox News. He was hitting him over the head. He would do tough interviews with Trump or anybody. And then somehow a tapeworm got in him, and now he just say the craziest stuff on planet Earth.
The Officer Tatum calls out the legend himself of Fox News, formerly Fox News, Tucker Carlson. Now, Tucker Carlson, as you can see, he also gives his own personal opinion about Tucker Carlson, basically calling him...
why is Brandon Tatum fighting for Israel? Think about that. Why is Brandon Tatum fighting for Israel? Even if from the conservative perspective, it doesn't make sense to want to support a government, an American government, in this case, a Trump government, that is funneling money into fighting somebody else's war where they are actively committing a genocide against brown people. That's what's going on here. There is no bridge. There is no bridge to justify it. It would be like, right, I'm from Jamaica. It'd be like a Jamaican all of a sudden just fighting for Israel. It's like, why? Why? For what? Why not fight for every other group of people that's engaged in a war? It just doesn't make any sense.
In so many words,
He's doing it for the money. He's also been brainwashed by a book, a 2,000-year-old book.
stuck up. And basically,
the same book that was used to justify the enslavement and oppression of his people are now being used to oppress another group of brown people. Surprise, surprise.
Tucker Carlson. And the issue that Brandon Tatum has an issue with Tucker Carlson is because of this clip that Carlson released once Charlie Kirk got killed.
He did not like Bibi Netanyahu, and he said that to me many times, and he said it to people around him many times. He felt that Bibi Netanyahu was a very destructive force.
Wow.
He was appalled by what was happening
Charlie?
in Gaza.
That's crazy.
He was, above all, resentful that he believed Netanyahu was using the United States to prosecute his wars for the benefit of his country.
Well, I mean, he didn't have a problem taking a ton of money from him.
And that it was shameful and embarrassing and bad for the United States, and he resented it. Didn't hate Netanyahu. He wasn't out there with a placard saying that, but he certainly expressed that to me and a lot of other people. And there's no question that Bibi's defenders on the internet will call me a liar or a kook, but that's a fact. And enough text messages exist that I think it can probably be verified in pretty short order. Not that it needs to be, because that is true.
Now, Tatum would then listen to
Drop the receipts, bro. Drop the receipts.
this clip, and he would come back with some ferocious allegations.
Oh.
Tatum would address Tucker Carlson with the ferocious comeback.
Anti-Semitic person like Tucker Carlson is on stage spewing hatred against Jews and conspiracies. Why would a donor that's Jewish or that is donating to you because you are elevating the Zionist ideas that you have had since you was 16 years old, why would they not have a problem with it? You can believe that they're wrong or right or whatever your opinion is, but you can't deny that. Why would a donor say, I have no problem with you bringing this nut on stage in front of all of these young people and spewing stupidity?
Now, he's saying, like, listen, Tucker, you're anti-Semitic. You've always been anti-Semitic, even since when you were like 18 or 19. So why would they want to deal with somebody like you? Now, this is where I think Brandon Tatum and some of these black conservatives are crossing the line. Number one, Tucker Carlson is like, I would say he's like pretty much godlike amongst far-right conservatives.
They're getting a little too big for their bridges, man. Someone better get these black conservatives in line. There's a hierarchy to this shit.
Historically, being on Fox News, he still is, okay? But what's so interesting about Brandon Tatum, the problem with Brandon Tatum's argument is that, well, they had the memorial today. And guess who was on the list to speak for the memorial? Let's look at it here. White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Secretary Mark Rubio, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Secretary Pete Hegseth, Director Tulsi Gabbard, Donald Trump Jr. There it is. Tucker Carlson, Stephen Miller, Sergio Gore. So guess what? Tucker Carlson was invited to speak.
Right.
And how do we know it?
Action, because God is here and you can feel it. And Charlie would have loved this, not just because...
No black people. All that tap dancing, you ain't even get a chance to say a 1-2 words. Didn't you work for Turning Point USA, Brandon? They didn't even give you a chance to speak. But they put Tucker Carlson on stage, and supposedly he's lying about Charlie and saying all kinds of anti-Semitic shit. But Trump is a Zionist, so make that make sense. Just goes to show in the conservative world, one thing trumps all. One thing trumps all.
But because ultimately he was a Christian evangelist.
And this doesn't really add up. And I'm going to tell you why it doesn't add up. Because Jews support Turning Point USA. And so they would have supported this event. So they supported the event knowing that Tucker Carlson was going to speak. So it must mean that Tucker Carlson must not be that much of an anti-Semite because he's not there. But we know who was not there, and that was you. Woo! we also know that Tucker Carlson was the main person that pushed this GoFundMe or Give Send Go, basically raising almost $5.4 million on the behalf of Charlie Kirk.
Right.
And guess who didn't put up $1 million? Brandon Tatum. Okay? They raised $5.4 million largely because of Tucker Carlson's pull. And what does that necessarily mean? That means that Tucker Carlson had a much closer relationship with Charlie Kirk than Brandon Tatum ever did. But here's the flip side of this.
Maybe not, but it's also that Tucker Carlson is just way wealthier than Brandon, and Tucker Carlson is way more embraced by the conservative white movement.
Our argument. Brandon Tatum refuses to call out the real, aka anti-Semite, or the grifter of the year when it comes to the death of Charlie Kirk, and that is Candace Owens. Okay? Nobody financially is benefiting off the death and alluding to the fact that Israel somehow assassinated Charlie Kirk than her.
That's
now,
true.
She hasn't explicitly said that, but she's also put a Netanyahu
she's
photo
implied
in almost
it
like
multiple times.
half of the thumbnails. Like, let's look at this. They are lying about Charlie Kirk, episode 235. I mean, Charlie Kirk shooting suspect charge. I mean, that 5.5 million views. Who ordered the hit on Charlie Kirk? I mean, again, here we go. I mean, all of these conspiracy theories is right there, and guess who isn't talking about it? He's not addressing Candace
Really?
Owens, and that's interesting. There's nobody who's a bigger conspiratist than her. And how do we...
I ain't gonna lie to you, O'Shea. You fucking tricked me, nigga. Look at the title. Candace Owens never thought Officer Tatum would do this. I'm gonna let it go, but it's feeling like clickbait. But let's see.
know this. Let's go to this particular tweets, okay? But let's also go back to the Tucker Carlson thing, since Brandon Tatum doesn't like Tucker Carlson. Candace Owens also mentions the fact that she has evidence the same as Tucker Carlson to explain what was going on with Charlie Kirk.
Charlie was getting a lot of really nasty text messages, and many of them pertaining to Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. But Tucker Carlson was really the focus when it came to America Fest. How could Charlie allow these debates about Israel to take place? How could he allow Dave Smith, who, by the way, is Jewish, how could how could Charlie allow this other position to meet the stage? Because obviously when people start to hear the debates, what Dave Smith is saying sounds so rational, but it was up to Charlie to not allow those things to happen.
So in this clip, Candace Owens is pretty much backing up the same thing that Tucker Carlson's talking about. Again,
Right.
Brandon Tatum seems to be a step behind. And let's look at the screenshots, the tweets, okay? The tweets in which he indirectly implies that Israel is behind this. Let's look at this. Tucker Carlson just exposed everything Charlie was going through with his Jewish donors and what his true feelings were towards Bibi Netanyahu. Watch to comprehend how sinister the lies are the Zionist crowd is trying to tell right now. Messages exist, stop lying.
Woo!
But wait a minute, hold on, Brandon Tatum. Wait, why are you refusing to come after your friend Candace Owens?
Where are the receipts, man? Tucker is saying their receipts. Candace is saying their receipts. I have seen no receipts. Where are these supposed receipts?
I mean, that's crazy. In your whole podcast, that whole YouTube video, you come after Tucker Carlson and you come after Nick Fuentes. But the person who's doing all of this rubbish the most is Candace Owens. And he only mentions Candace Owens one time quite favorably. Check it out.
Charlie would never in his life say, I want my kids to be white. Charlie never felt that. Charlie never said that. Charlie never discriminated.
Charlie Kirk pushed white erasure. He pushed the great replacement theory. Of course he wanted his children to be white.
When you say his best friend was a black woman, Candace. They were like this, bro. Flying on an airplane together, everything. I thought they was in a relationship at one point. I was like, they must be, oh, that's a good couple right there. Look, they going everywhere together. They ain't a couple. Then when I got to know them, I realized they weren't, but Charlie ain't no racist.
Basically here, he's trying to prove that Charlie Kirk...
Charlie is a racist. He lied constantly about black people to make them look bad. That makes you a racist.
It's not racist because Candace Owens
Right.
and him were like the best of friends.
Of course.
And he even thought that they
You know who else were like the best of friends? Fucking Candy, Mr. Candy from Candyland and Django and Steven. They were bestest of friends. So that don't mean shit. Look, how do you think white European DNA got into the blood of pretty much every black Caribbean and American? Because they were fucking black women. The white slave owners were fucking black women. So just because you can find a racist being all chummy with a black person, that don't mean shit.
dating at one time. Booty clapping sounds? That's interesting. Hey, Brandon Tatum, I wouldn't have said all of that. But hold on, let's go back to the tweet. Sorry, guys, you murdered my friend. You unlocked the Inigo Montoya in me. We're not
He was
stopping
probably
until we get to the
clapping.
bottom of
I ain't
this
gonna
thing.
lie to you. He was probably smacking that. But
Hold on,
we'll
wait,
see.
you. Well, we already know who murdered him, but Candace Owens is pushing that propaganda. The one that Brandon Tatum is talking about or blaming Nick Fuentes for doing when nobody's doing it more than her. He's come after Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes, but not his friend Candace Owens. Look at this. All Bibi Netanyahu had to do was not lie on Charlie's name in the aftermath and we wouldn't be here. So he's calling Netanyahu a liar. The same person that Tatum had on this live stream praising Netanyahu, but Candace Owens openly is calling Netanyahu a liar and Brandon Tatum is too afraid to address her.
Oh, of course.
But he has never been able to meet that challenge. Look at this. Awesome Jew was also at the Hampton Summit. Of course, I'm just sitting here looking at this list, LOLing at them, attempting to spin this as a totally casual fling that was not about Israel. But wait a minute. Since Brandon Tatum refuses to address his friend, what is everybody else saying? This guy, Pie Sop Enjoyer, Candace Owens, please shut the F up forever. Your friend was murdered for F's sake.
Woo!
All right, let's look at Apex. Candace Owens ain't playing around with y'all, Israelites today, right now, okay?
Right.
White and Right America's favorite Negro went in on our show today, laying down evidence of what she feels was behind the death of her beloved zaddy piece, Charlie Kirk. You go, girl. Okay, this is plain sight. In plain sight, what we believe is grifting. She's blaming Israel for this indirectly. Okay, but Brandon Tatum is being scared. Look at this here. Candace Owens accuses the you-know-who, right, of murdering Charlie Kirk, queen of brain rot. Oh, so even Jews themselves are upset about this.
Right.
Y'all saw this pic from Candace Owens that she said Charlie Kirk's assassin and Dairy Queen the day after shooting. Weird when the Dairy Queen Superman campaign only ran from May to July. More grift using Charlie. It's so disturbing. Wow, even the fans are seeing this.
Wow.
And look at this. Candace Owens inexplicably has broken new ground as an evil grifter. This is particularly one of the most disgusting things she's ever said. We watched Charlie get shot in the throat. This feels a little bit symbolic. It feels like they wanted us to know that his voice was problematic. Again, I don't know who they is. Again, so who's they? We all know who they is. So let's go back to Brandon Tatum.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the thing is,
She's
Brandon
definitely insinuating it was the Jews.
Tatum is trying to stall Candace Owens out. But see, Brandon Tatum is in too deep on one side. Candace Owens is in too deep on the other.
Right.
Now, Brandon Tatum does not want to start a war with Candace Owens.
Right.
Because Candace Owens will fight back. And right now, they're both on different political avenues. They're on parallel streets, if you will. Okay? And he's trying to make it parallel, but somehow, some way, both of those streets or cars are going to come away from those streets and they're going to have to intersect. And the more that Candace Owens keeps coming after Netanyahu or certain people in Israel, Brandon Tatum will be left with nothing else but to go after Candace Owens. He just has to, okay? Because listen, Candace Owens is spreading all these lies out here. She's getting millions of views every day, and Brandon Tatum doesn't get as many views as Candace Owens. Her views are really hurting it. He's gonna have to go to battle with his friend and on the behalf of Israel. And Candace Owens is going to take that up. and it's going to get really dirty.
Yeah, it really just goes to show that Brandon Tatum doesn't stand on anything or stand for anything, and that shouldn't come as a surprise. The man is a grifter. He knows nothing about Israel, yet is fighting for Israel. He claims to be a Christian, cares so much about the lives of children, for instance, right? If a woman wants to have an abortion for whatever reason, he would say that's wrong because it's murder. But yet he's completely fine supporting a government that is actively murdering children by the thousands. He has no problem with that. And so, which is it? Is it that the lives of children are sacred and should be protected at all costs? Or are there some situations where it's okay to murder children? That's what Brandon Tatum believes. He believes there's some situations where it's okay to murder children. This means your morality is subjective. There is no objective value in the life of a child, in the soul of a child. That's what you would believe. You are a complete hypocrite. You are a complete sellout. You know what I'm saying? I used to be a Christian, and as a result, I used to be a conservative. And guess what? Even back then, I was still advocating for reparations, and I called Charlie Kirk a racist as a Christian that agreed with, you know, some more conservative views. But that's the thing with Officer Tatum. He is not morally, logically, or ideologically consistent at all. At all. He's a sellout, fully, to the maximum. And so here we have Candace Owens, who is getting more views than Tucker Carlson. She's getting more views than Nick Fuentes. She is the loudest anti-Israel, anti-Zionist, anti-Semitic voice on the right now. And he won't say anything. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's loyalty or fear. I think it's probably a mixture of both. He knows that he ain't standing a chance against Candace Owens. Candace Owens would completely shred him to pieces. It's also the reason why he hasn't debated Myron Gaines yet, because Myron would completely shred him to pieces. This is not a very intelligent man. This is not a very smart man. Well, I'll give him this. He is smart in this way. He recognizes who Big Daddy really is. He knows who's really paying the bills. And that's MAGA, Trump, and Bibi Netanyahu. He knows who's really in charge. And so at least we can give him some credit for that. That's playing it safe. He's definitely playing it safe as the black conservative sellout. No doubt about it.
Maybe Tatum has some dirt out there he doesn't want anybody to know, but it's inevitable. These two are going to actually come to blows really, really soon within the next year. Okay? Candace is not going to stop
going like this
for her money. And then Brandon Tatum will not stop grifting for theirs. Now it's no longer black on black.
Now, here's the thing. I think Brandon Tatum, he's grifting for money. And so is Candace. But when it comes to Israel, I actually think Candace is an anti-Semite. I actually believe, whether it was her experience with Ben Shapiro or whatever the case may be, she genuinely does not like Israel. She does not like the Jewish people. She doesn't like Jews. And so that's her situation right there. And so that's also another reason why she would be dangerous for Brandon Tatum to mess with, because something much more powerful than greed is fueling Candace. She also is being fueled by hatred. And when you combine greed and hatred, well, God damn it, fuck. That's a very powerful person, especially when they are intelligent. You know what I'm saying? I think Candace Owens is actually a very smart person. She is just evil. There's a difference. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Brandon Tatum is evil. He might just be stupid. You feel me? So that's really what's going on there. But I am interested to see these two collide, because it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. With Charlie Kirk out of the picture, even though Brandon Tatum isn't the hero that Israel wants, it's the one that they deserve, and it's the one that they have to settle with. Besides Brandon Tatum, again, who does the right have? He is now possibly the biggest conservative influencer YouTuber advocating for Israel. I mean, you would have to put me on. Let me know in the comment section down below if Israel has a bigger online influencer right now on the right pushing Israel and Zionism. I don't think so.
Now it's no longer black on black crime. Both of them are married to Caucasians. So why are they going to get into it anyway? Because of greed. They have to do this. And just sit back and watch when I told you so first.
Yeah, man, it's coming. It's coming, and that will be a sight to behold. But you let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching. Peace out.